Hello, everyone. This is Lakshmi Parmeswar from Positive Outcomes. I am recording a summary of the domestic violence workshop that we hosted a few days ago with Cynthia Gergerick, who is an international psychologist practicing in New York City. And Cynthia and I had a candlelit chat about a very serious and disturbing topic, domestic violence. Um, a few people attended it live, and we got very good feedback on it. But unfortunately, due to a technical glitch, um, we weren't, the entire webinar was not recorded, and so we weren't able to put it on the website. And this was, all of us, the entire team at Positive Outcomes, were extremely disappointed. And the participants who attended live strongly suggested that we do a brief summary and post it on our website so that people who are interested in this topic can at least have some information about it. So I'm going to attempt to do a very quick summary. So Cynthia and I started by talking about why we named it a candlelit chat. Um, Candles have a lot of meaning, isn't it? Candles are something that create a certain calmness within us. It also is a symbol of light. And all of the fragrance candles can have meaning to us in our lives. The fragrances we like, what they mean to us. So we just had a brief conversation about that, and then tied it into the issue of domestic violence. But I will not attempt to recreate the entire conversation. It was absolutely delightful to talk with Cynthia about it, who is an amazing friend and colleague, and we really dug deep into the conversation. So the first thing that we really kind of started talking about really is COVID-19 and domestic violence in this era of COVID-19. The nuances, how it is affecting domestic violence. COVID-19 is a collective global trauma that's affecting everything, everyone and everything, it seems. But our focus was on specifically domestic violence. And then we started talking about the actual issues, and I just want to highlight some of the things. So why do one of the very common questions that people have is, why do people stay in abusive relationships? That is a question that plagues us as a society. It plagues families where there is domestic violence, and it just, as individuals, we wonder about that. So I'm just going to highlight some of the factors. So the first thing that people are concerned about in domestic violence situations, if you are a victim or a witness, if you're a child and you're witnessing it, if you are the recipient, or to some extent also the perpetrator of the abuse, there is a lot of fear in that space. Fear that you have no other option, fear that, or the belief that there is no way out. Um, and there are a lot of psychological reasons for it, but there are also some physical ground realities. The lack of independence, financial independence, the inability to access resources, a lack of family support or support from people around you, social support, neighborhood support. So a lot of folks in that particular space believe that this is what it is and this is normal, and that a lot of people go through it. So that is sort of the trap, the mental trap that a lot of folks in a domestic violence situation actually believe. And then there are a whole bunch of other factors. There's a shaming factor, there's a fear of being outed, there's a fear of what will people think of me, and also there's also a deep-rooted lack of self-esteem, self-confidence, lack of inner courage, and the inability to take a stand or to remove yourself from that toxic environment. The National Domestic Hotline is a beautiful website that you can access. Even if you type in domestic violence and um, put in resources, it immediately will pull up this National Domestic Hotline numbers. These are all in the US, but even in India, there is a lot of information that is available about resources and support. So I would encourage you, those of you who are interested in this topic, either for personal reasons or professional reasons, to check that website. One of the things that Cynthia also did for us for this talk is she created these beautiful handouts about statistics, about the, how much domestic violence there is, and some of the recent numbers that she was able to track during this pandemic. So what we're going to do is put this recording and those resources on the website so that those of you who are interested can access it. The other thing we did is that we talked about actual cases. And that was really a very meaningful discussion, a very nuanced discussion about the dynamics that occur in families where there's domestic violence. And I apologize for the technical glitch. The more I think about it as I'm recapping it for you, I feel bad that we weren't able to record it. In any case, there's always another time. And as I end this recording, the only other thing I'd like to share with you is that domestic violence cuts across all cultures, all economic strata, all racial groups, and it is a huge trauma for folks going through it and folks witnessing it. And it can have dire consequences for several lives in that family, for the children, if there are children, for the adults involved. And the other statistic also that is important to be aware of is that 15% of domestic violence survivors are men. So this gender stereotyping that we tend to engage in, saying that it's only women who are victims of domestic violence, that is not really true. 15% of men are victims of domestic violence. And as far as children go, there's a large statistic, and I'm not able to access that number at this point, but it's easily available if you look for it. One of the handouts that we have is all about resources, what you can do, who you can call, where to start the process if you do want to leave this toxic environment. And the silver lining in this entire webinar was that there was one person in the US who listened to it live with her family, who had a case of an episode just last week before the webinar was aired. And she listened to the webinar, she reached out. She is now out of that toxic environment. She is in therapy. She is getting the help she needs. She is being connected with legal help as well. And so it almost seems as if the universe had us do this webinar for her. So I am grateful that we were able to be there for her and try to help her address this huge trauma in her life. Thank you very much for listening to the recording. Again, I direct you to the website. We will be hosting it on the website, both this recording and the resources at some point today. Thank you very much. And the website address again is thepositiveoutcomes.com. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.